Hello friends, my name is Pinaki and welcome to my channel FinTech Logics. Now today's topic of discussion is issues with buy now pay later or BNPL. I have covered BNPL process flow in my vlog number 14. If you have not seen that, please refer that. The key takeaways from this video would be what are the types of issues associated with BNPL and is there a need of change? Let's look. Now, buy now, pay later issues can be categorized into four different facets looking at the stakeholders. The first one is the set of issues, those are related to borrowers or the customers who are availing this. The second set is about the lenders or the overall credit system. The third set is about the product and services manufacturer who manufactures these product and services. The fourth set is the merchant themselves who actually retail these product and services to the borrowers or the customers. So let's look at each of these one by one. Now, to understand the borrower issues, we must remember who are taking these BNPL loans. So a lot of these population is new to credit customers who have just started their income journey or employment journey. So they have a lot of need for or wants for their dream products, and in turn this increases the impulsive want of the customer. So there is definitely a definition of want versus your need, right? So a new to a credit customer, when he wants something, because of this availability of easy BNPL schemes, their impulsive sell actually increases. So this is about increasing the impulsive wants of the customer. This is definitely not a good symptom. Now, reduces the planned savings. In the initial days when a customer would like to buy something, they would definitely save for a certain period for their future goals and then fulfill that. So instead of that, because of this BNPL, that is not required and this discourages the planned savings. The third one is about high interest rate, penalty charges and risk of damaging credit score. Now why this can happen? Because in turn we should understand that BNPL is just a loan. So if the customer does not pay because of the high interest rate, or if you would have taken multiple BNPL loans, then this is going to damage his credit history from the beginning of his employment period. This also is associated with a high amount of penalty charge if the customer defaults, and obviously the interest rate is also quite high. That is not good for the borrowers. Now, if we look at the lender or the credit system issues, there is difficulty in credit monitoring. So if you remember, BNPL uses soft pull. That means your request for credit is not registered with bureaus, not to damage your credit history, right? So that is why the requests are not registered, and somebody can go on creating multiple requests even with multiple competitor retailers to avail this. So in turn, credit monitoring becomes difficult. The second point is about non-centralized BNPL credit checks. Now, between these vendors, so let's say there is a vendor Klarna and there is a vendor your capital float. Now, there is no centralized check between these parties to understand that at the same point of time, if the customer has taken one BNPL for a refrigerator and one BNPL for a phone, right? So this in turn can be dangerous. Now, increasing credit risk for lenders. Now, in turn, what might happen is that borrower can avail multiple BNPL because this does not affect their DTIs. This can create an credit risk in future if the customer is not capable to pay at the end point because of the multiple BNPLs, and the lenders are at much risk. So initial timings for giving every loan, the request was also checked and the debt to income ratio was also checked, and which was not happening at this point of time, and that is what this is increasing risk for the lenders. Now, credit appraisal is also compromised. Now, why do I say this? Because of the high potential of this product to earn vendor fees. So, we heard about 2 to 8%, and sometimes that can go up to 10% also. So, because of this high income potential and in the pressure to give your loan within few minutes, this actually compromises your credit appraisal process orally, and that is what causes issues in credit risk. Now, the last point is very important, that this is actually encouraging your portfolio lending instead of co-lending. So, if you remember, for portfolio lending, the wholesale lenders make available a certain amount of fund for the loan service providers, who would give it to different customers in form of retail loans, right? So because of the risk mitigation aspects, some time back government had brought forth the concept of co-lending, where some of the credit principles of the wholesale lenders, which were normally stricter than the loan service providers, retail loan providers, should also be associated in the credit policy of the LSPs, because of the co-sharing of the risk. So that is what encourages loans to be given with high value or the high amount of credit checking, and in turn the customers also become good. Now, because of this BNPL, it is not possible to check each and every loan for the wholesale lender. So in turn, what is happening is that an entire big chunk is given to LSPs and in form of portfolio lending, and retail loans are left to the discretions of the LSPs, loan service providers. So this is definitely not good, and portfolio lending can cause a lot of other credit issues as well. Now let's look at what are the issues being faced by product service manufacturer. Now in short, if you understand that now a customer with lower socio-economic capability or lower income category can also afford high value products, right? So your customer segmentation becomes very difficult. In that, there also happens less analysis by the buyers to actually purchase a high value product, because if somebody looks at the entire price together, it might look a big value, but the same amount, if it is split into 12 installments instead of 6 installments, the installment value comes down. So that is what is promoting these buyers to do less analysis on the product and the pricing mapping. So that is what is also discouraging product manufacturers to create correct products and also to create correct pricing for these products. So in turn, the overall product innovation with cost effectiveness is also going down. So that means the overall product innovation is also going down, and definitely this is not good for the customers at the end on. Now let's look at merchant. So normally this is the thing that is taken very lightly, but if you see, this BNPL also poses a lot of issues for merchants. Now first thing is about customer experience. Now a customer would have bought in a point of sales in a retailer place, and then he would have agreed to pay certain installment amount for these many terms. Now what happens when the actual due comes to the customer? Because of the accounting need, there would be separate heads put, like your fees separate, your interest separate, your principal separate, right? So this amount may not match with the installment. Why? Because fees might be one time, your interest and principal might be recurring things. So in turn, what happens is that the customer gets dissatisfied, and that this dissatisfaction boils down to merchant, because he would have taken this BNPL through a merchant, right? So this definitely affects customer experience. Now, second point is about brand loyalty. Now, a certain type of customers also uh, use BNPL apps which is installed in their phone. They go to POS and pay the amount. So, in that case, your retailer does not get all the information about the customer, and also sometimes do not get opportunity to register customers in their platform to have further CRMs. And the customer might not sometimes be interested to know about retailers because they look at BNPL apps only and multiple retailers together. So in turn, the merchants lose brand loyalty as well. Now, the third point is about fraud risk. Now, in case any customer has got a fraudulent document and becomes successful to get a BNPL uh, and take the service, product and service with him, in this case of fraud, the merchant is only penalized because the customer would have come through the merchant only. So this poses for a high risk for the merchant. Now, the fourth one is about cost and competition. Now, we all know that the cost for the merchant is in the range of 2 to 8%, which is much more than the credit card uh, cost that he would have got. So, in order to compensate this, the retailer has to increase the volume. So, that means they get into more competition, and overall cost and competition causes a big issue for the merchants to manage their customer base. So in turn, if you look at your buy now pay later, this definitely has multiple issues being associated. Yes, this is a new product. This has definitely brought lot of innovation in market, but there is definitely chance of correction correction in terms of your regulatory changes. That means you're forcing co-lending instead of portfolio lending, or uh, uh, associated with the customer behavior. These kind of changes which are required to be implemented. So for this, there has been two kinds of things. Your central banks are now forcing for co-lending models, wherein some of the credit rules have been made stricter. That is the first set of changes. Those are being brought forward for BNPL. And the second thing is that there has been new innovations which have been made, where you would have heard about save now pay later. So wherein the customer is uh, planned to save some amount for, let's say, next 6 months or 12 months, and then utilize that amount for his dream product and service. So there has been innovation happening in this space. You would have if you come across a company named Multiple, they are very famous to promote this save now pay later, which is related to changing the behavior of the customers also in this BNPL. Now, to conclude, BNPL is definitely a good innovation that has happened in lending. There are issues related to that. If those are corrected and if used with caution, with some changes, this is definitely game changer. I hope this video would have made some of the issues of this BNPL clear in your head. If you need any additional clarification, please do let me know, and I would be happy to create contents regarding that. Please do share, subscribe, and like. Thanks a lot, viewers.